Welcome back. Looking ahead to 2024, most of the polling shows it appears Trump is the man for Republicans in this next election, at least so far. It is still early, though. From Real Clear Politics, an average of polls taken very recently shows Trump with a very commanding lead at 53%. But still, the campaigning continues, including by Trump's former Vice President Mike Pence, who joins me tonight from the great state of Indiana, my home state. Sir, it's good to have you on.
Thank you, Rob. Thanks for having me on. And you bet, we were out in Iowa all of last week, and we were so moved by the enthusiasm that we saw. I think it is early in this campaign, but we're getting a lot of encouragement. People are going to MikePence2024.com and signing up for this team, and it really is great to be with you tonight.
Sure. Well, we appreciate you coming on. At this point, you know, I want to say that they've thrown pretty much everything but the kitchen sink at former President Trump, and his support seems to still be very, very strong. And so my first question is, how do you overcome that? What is your plan to overcome what seems to be an insurmountable lead?
Well, first, I've had a lot, including the kitchen sink, thrown at me over the years. I was proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with President Donald Trump all those 4 years when we rebuilt our military, revived our economy, built a wall on the southern border, appointed conservatives to our federal courts at every level. I stood by the president right up until my oath to the Constitution required me to do otherwise. But I can tell you that I think the president's durable support is as much a reflection of how alarmed people are at the failed policies of President Joe Biden and the Democrats as it is anything else. I understand that. People are drawn to the familiar, and everybody knows it was better under the Trump-Pence administration than it is today by a lot. But as I talked to Republicans in Iowa last week, I'll be back in New Hampshire next week, Rob, I hear people saying again and again, as much as they appreciate everything the former president did, that they recognize different times call for different leadership. I think the American people know that we need new leadership in the White House, but I think Republicans know we need new leadership in the Republican Party as well, and we're going to continue to work our hearts out and take our case to Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, and every state in this country.
Well, and I can understand your point there. I hear those things from some people, but when you look at just the numbers, if you have the former president right now, I mean, I can show you polling that indicates that he has a lead over Joe Biden in the next election. You know, I think it was a YouGov poll that came out very recently, had him up by 4 points over Biden in the next election. There it is right there on the screen, YouGov The Economist. You have 53% support within the party, nobody else even coming close to that. I want to talk about the relationship that you have with the former president, because I know it's strained to some extent. I know you're very proud of a lot of the things that you guys got done right, and there were a lot of great successes in the administration. Sure. But you've also been very critical of Trump's behavior around January 6th. I want to just go ahead and play this out.
If we spend the next election talking about the past, you're going to get 4 more years of Democrats in the White House.
The president's words and actions in and around January 6th were reckless. The tweet that he issued the day that I was in the loading dock below the United States Senate endangered my family and endangered people that were in the Capitol, and was indefensible. I mean, the president's words were reckless. It was clear he decided to be part of the problem.
So I don't want to rehash a lot of January 6th, because that happens every day on television. But what I want to talk about is something we talk about a lot on this show, is this cabal that's being exposed by various whistleblowers, by what we've seen from the Twitter files after Elon Musk bought the company, that shows that there was, within your own government, there was a push to remove yourself and President Trump from the White House, to get them out of government and to kind of clear a path for Joe Biden. I mean, you saw very clear evidence now that our intel agencies were working this massive effort to protect Biden and his family from the actions that it appears they've been committing, and there's a number of credible whistleblowers and a lot of evidence of that, and to also cast this, shadow of Russia over your campaign. You're very critical of former President Trump, his actions around January 6th. Are you as critical of what we're seeing the government, our intel agencies, our media companies did to remove you guys from power?
Oh, I guarantee it. And, I'll always believe by God's grace, I kept my oath to the Constitution on that fateful day, and I've always hoped that President Trump would come around and realize that he'd been misled by a group of attorneys that told him that I had authority that the Constitution certainly did not afford me. But have I been as critical of the Biden administration? You better believe it, Rob. I mean, the fact that we went through 4 years, that I endured as well, 2.5 years of a Russia hoax, the president being impeached for a phone call. I mean, there was a relentless effort from literally before we were inaugurated in 2017 by the Democrats to essentially overturn our administration. The headline in the Washington Post on the day of our inauguration in 2017 was, "The quest to impeach Donald Trump begins today." And so it never let up, and we fought it every step of the way. But to see the pass that the Biden administration has been getting, not only by key elements of the Justice Department, the intelligence community, but of course by most of the rest of the national media that looks the other way on one issue after another. I'm going to hold the Biden administration accountable, and if I'm president of the United States, we're going to clean house in the Department of Justice on day one.
If Trump does get this nomination, early next year, will you back him?
Well, I would ask the same of him when I win the Republican nomination. I could tell you, Rob, look, I've been a Republican since the days of Ronald Reagan. I joined the Reagan Revolution and never looked back. I've always supported the Republican nominee, and I always will.
Former Vice President Mike Pence from Indiana tonight. Thank you so much, sir, for coming on. We appreciate it.
Well, thanks, Rob. I'd love it if people went to MikePence2024.com, found out how they could help, and joined our team.